Hey people, what's going on? Glad we had this opportunity to get together again just to talk about some simple truths that I said that I'd be talking about in the future. Some of the things that I talked about earlier was that I was going to be dealing with the issue of mindset when it comes to the issue of success. Success is something that most people find difficult to attain, and I understand that because I've been an entrepreneur my entire life pretty much. I've always strived to try to come up with new angles, new approaches to try to achieve what we call today success. I think that in order to get this conversation started, we need to understand a few basic things. First of all, we need to understand what success really is. It's an individual thing, first of all. That's one thing we need to understand. It's individual. It's not something that we can necessarily look at as a general statement. From the standpoint that I know most people, when they think about success, they always think about it from the standpoint of finance. And I get that. And that's kind of where I'm going with this as well. But success is more about the process than anything. And so in order to be able to be consistent and have the things that we are trying to achieve in our lives, whether it be financial success, whether it be physical success, whether it be emotional success, or even relational success. Many people have issues in all of those genres, and I understand that, but there are some fundamentals that people continue to overlook, and I kind of think that has to do with their mindset and how they and what they believe. Really, that's really what it comes down to. I think people just have a difficult time wrapping their minds around what it takes in order to see the kind of consistent, comprehensive success that you should be seeing in your life if you understand basic fundamentals about life. And so that's where I'm going. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Okay, my name is Arnell Williams Jr., and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I grew up there, loved the city, loved a lot of things about the city. Of course, there were some things about the city that I didn't care too much for. That's one of the reasons why I ended up leaving. But one thing that I ended up developing while I was there, I ended up developing somewhat of a very risk-averse mindset from the standpoint that I was typically apprehensive about taking risk. And I think that was primarily because of the environment that I grew up in. Detroit has a reputation that's well earned for being a very volatile environment, to say the least. But with that being said, I think many people, they either learn to adapt to it, which is what I did, but by adapting to that very volatile environment, if you will, sometimes you develop a mindset that is risk averse. You won't take risk, even calculated risk that might benefit you in the future. And so that goes across the spectrum. That could be relationships, that can be physicality, emotional, as well as financial. And so you kind of look for, sort of the guaranteed path. And for life, to be honest with you, if I've been around for a few years, I recognize there is no such thing as a free lunch. There is no such thing as an easy way. There's always a process that we always have to go through. So with that being said, the only thing I wanted to start with, in our first conversation, I think it's necessary that you understand that you have to have the proper mindset in order to be successful in this world today. When I look at what we're dealing with right now, we're in a process right now with a new president, a new administration, and people are fearful because they think a lot of their tried in the war, I guess you can say some of their guarantees that they think make or break their lives if they lose these guarantees are in jeopardy right now because of the new administration. That may be true, that may not be true. I don't really know. But at the end of the day, I think that if you can understand the two things I'm going to discuss today that I'm just going to leave you with, you will be able to not allow these fears to be overwhelming to you. Okay? So with that being said, I think that you have to look at the signs when you do see what's going on around you, whether it be the new administration, your own personal lives, the people the people you surround yourself with. You have to look at the way you were brought up. You have to look at all the assumptions in your life. You know, we assumed just based upon the environment that we grew up in that that's life, that's normal, that's reality. You need to learn to question all these assumptions. As I said earlier, I grew up in Detroit, and I grew up in the assumption that most of life can be scary, you know, and so you kind of have to, I started looking at that thing and I kind of would not take risk one way or the other unless I believed it was a sure thing. And that kind of kept me in a box, kept me in a bubble, and I just couldn't grow. And for the life of me, I used to have such a difficult time with failure because I would always consider myself, I took it personally, and I had the wrong mindset. So the first thing I want you to understand is one of the first areas of mindset that's very problematic, and I'll deal with the second next time when we get together, is this mindset of a fixed mindset. That's the mindset that says that, you know, every man is the same. All women are the same. All people are the same. You're born with this and that's it. Everything is compartmentalized. Nothing can be different. Everything must be equal. This is a mindset that doesn't benefit you nor the people in your life. And if you have a fixed mindset, what you can expect is a very difficult life. I'm just going to tell you, because you're going to take everything personally. You're going to be looking for other things to constantly validate you, always. You're going to always be judgmental. See, that's the problem with a fixed mindset. And it's sad that it filters its way through every area of your life. Every area of your life. You wonder why, for instance, you have a lot of people who like to make statements about black women. You know, they'll say things like, well, black women are the loneliest women in the world. Black women are unmarriageable. Black women are undateable. And black women get back on their heels and they get very defensive, and understandably so. But the reality is it's not that black women are unmarriageable or they are the most loneliest people in, or I'll say segment in our society. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with belief. Now, you need to marinate on that. I'm talking about black women and their belief systems. A lot of the things that some black women believe has limited them because they have a fixed mindset about certain things. Some black women, because of the environment, because of what they've seen, because of what they've learned in the past, because of some of the immediate failures they've experienced growing up, they've developed a fixed mindset about life in general, and that's the lens they see all of their relationships through. And even getting new information or receiving new information, it goes through that filter, and it is still, sadly, it is still shot, like a bunch of holes are shot through it. And so whatever this new information is bringing that might bring some revelation to their lives to help them to make some adjustments to change certain things, for some reason they won't make the change. Now, again, it sounds like I'm picking on them. I'm not picking on them. I'm just making a statement about fact. Most people attract into their lives not what they want. but who they are. That's another area you need to marinate on. I'm talking men and women. This had nothing to do with sex. Most people attract not what they want, but who they are. The woman I've been married to for 35 years, I attracted that woman into my life. I pursued that woman. We share the same values. She's better than me in a lot of ways. She's helped me to become a better man because of the second mindset. My wife has the second mindset. She doesn't have this first mindset. My wife doesn't have a fixated mindset. She just doesn't. She's very fluid. That's what I love about her. That's what I mean. She's been able to bring me into that fluidity, that type of mindset. And so when it comes to success, I don't care what it is. Now, I have some things that I'm personally doing from an entrepreneurial perspective that, I'm not going to deal with it right now. I can bring that up at any time during the course of this 90-day challenge that I've began. I'm not in a hurry, in other words, because it's not, I'm all about the money. That's not the issue for me. My issue is making sure that I bring content and bring value to your life. That's what I'm interested in. Money and all this other stuff, it comes after I give what I have to give. I'm about providing and giving something rather than always asking for something. So the bottom line is you need to understand a fixated mindset is always going to be the type of mindset. And I don't care whether or not you've had experience with a lot of success in your life. Many times success, because of the fixated mindset, is a trap. Because once you get used to being successful, you become lackadaisical. You start just coasting and drifting through life, expecting success. In and of itself, expectation is not bad if it is tied or connected to reality, and that reality is tied and connected to real values that will not only help you, but help the individuals that you have that are part of the influence of that's part of the circle of your life. So with that being said, what you need to do, you need to examine yourself. Do I have a fixed mindset? Do I think that everything is black or everything is white? Do I take everything and filter it through me and my feelings? See, that's what it's about. You're not going to be successful necessarily financially or spiritually, emotionally, or relationally if you don't understand that life is not about a fixed way of doing things or a fixed way of seeing things. That's not life. So until we see each other again, God bless. I see you on the other side. Take it easy, brothers and sisters. God bless.